Hey everyone, before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Stories like this deserve to be shared. I remember the first thing I noticed that afternoon was the smell of charcoal mingled with the sweet tang of corn on the cob. It should have been a normal Sunday. My family, her family, laughter bouncing across the backyard. But something felt off the moment we stepped onto her brother's freshly mown lawn. She was wearing that smug smile, the one I used to think was playful, now sharp, like a blade hidden behind pretty teeth. Her name is Caroline, my wife of 5 years. Or, at least, the woman I thought I knew. She was already holding a glass of white wine, chatting with my sister like they shared some secret language I'd never been invited into. I waved. She barely glanced. The kind of disregard that makes your stomach turn, like swallowing a lump of ice. We started setting up the barbecue. I was flipping burgers, the smoke curling into the late afternoon sun, while Caroline moved among guests, dropping teasing remarks that felt a little too pointed. A laugh here, a whispered comment there, but nothing I could quite put my finger on. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from an unknown number. Can't wait to see you tonight. She has no idea. I stared at it, my hand shaking. Caroline noticed. She tilted her head, smirked, and went back to laughing, as if daring me to say anything. The kids ran through the sprinklers, squealing, oblivious of the tension, while the adults clustered in little circles, sipping drinks and exchanging smiles that felt rehearsed. I tried to focus on the grill, on the sizzle of meat, the smell of charred onions, but I couldn't shake the chill crawling up my spine. Something was brewing beneath the laughter, something I wasn't meant to see yet. Then it happened. Caroline leaned across the table where my parents were sitting, a glass raised, and said something that made everyone freeze. I felt my heart stop. My mother's fork clattered onto her plate. My father's eyes narrowed. The words hung in the air, sharp and undeniable. Everyone looked at me, and I realized in that single awful moment that nothing would ever be the same again. I froze, unable to speak, as the weight of her words sank into me. And just like that, the world tilted and I couldn't move. My mouth felt dry, my hands gripping the edge of the table, so hard it left white marks in my palms. Caroline was smirking, sipping her wine like she just won a game no one else knew was being played. My parents were staring at me, their expressions shifting from shock to something closer to dread. My sister whispered, oh no," and my chest tightened so fast I thought I might collapse. Her words replayed in my mind. I never really loved him. I've been seeing someone else for months. It was a simple sentence, but it hit like a hammer. Months. All those shared mornings, late-night talks, vacations we planned down to the last detail. It had been a lie. Every memory now felt like glass shards in my chest. I blinked, trying to focus. My phone buzzed again, this time a new message from the same number. He doesn't suspect a thing. Tonight, it's all yours. I swallowed hard. My throat was tight. The sound of the kids laughing in the sprinklers now distant, hollow, like it was happening underwater. My mind raced. How had I missed the signs? The late text she'd brushed off, the sudden business trips, the way she'd pull her phone close whenever I entered the room. I wanted to yell, to throw the glass across the yard, to rip her mask off and expose the woman I thought I knew. But I didn't. I stayed silent, letting the words hang in the air. Caroline noticed my hesitation, and her smirk widened. She leaned in close with my parents, whispering something I didn't catch, but I saw their faces drop further, the trust between us cracking in real time. I felt fury building, but it wasn't the kind that screams. It was a cold, quiet kind, the kind that plans and waits. I could see her confidence, her arrogance, and it ignited something inside me. I realized I had been humiliated in front of everyone I cared about, and unlike before, I wouldn't give her the satisfaction of a reaction she could control. I excused myself, hands shaking, and walked toward the garage. The world outside seemed sharper, colder. I thought about what I needed to do. There would be no confrontation tonight, no shouting matches, just silence, just a decision that would hit harder than any fight could. As I opened the garage door, I paused. I couldn't erase the betrayal, couldn't undo what had happened, but I could choose the way it ended. And I knew in my gut that the next move would change everything that I closed the garage door behind me. letting the hum of the fridge in the corner and the faint scent of motor oil ground me. My hands were still shaking, but the cold fury inside had settled into a sharp, focused clarity. I didn't need to yell. I didn't need to beg. I only needed one thing: finality. I walked back into the backyard, past the sprinklers and the scattered napkins, past the frozen faces of our families, and found Caroline standing near the grill, pretending everything was normal. Her smile faltered when she saw me. There was a flicker of panic, brief, but real. I didn't speak. I didn't raise my voice. I simply reached for the wedding photo on the small table by the drinks, the one from our honeymoon, where we looked impossibly happy, and quietly lifted it. The room watched, silent. I set it down in front of her with a deliberate calm, the glass trembling slightly in my hand. Then, without a word, I walked past her, past the shocked crowd and out the front gate. I didn't look back. My car keys jingled in my hand, like a verdict being read aloud. I drove through the empty streets, the sky darkening above, feeling the weight of every lie she had told, every laugh that had been a weapon, every stolen secret. I called my lawyer from the driveway of a diner I used to frequent alone, requesting the papers I'd need. The reality settled in. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment act. It was the only way to reclaim myself without letting her control the narrative any longer. By the time I returned home, her messages had started pouring in. Pleas, excuses, threats. I ignored them all. Each ping of my phone was a reminder of the woman I thought I knew and the woman she had been behind the mask. I deleted every one of her contacts, every photo, every memory stored in my phone. That night, as I sat alone in the quiet apartment we had shared, I realized something important. Humiliation is sharp, but clarity cuts deeper. I had been betrayed, yes, but I had also been given the chance to reclaim my life, to choose dignity over chaos. The marriage ended without a fight, without drama, but with a silence more powerful than any argument. I never saw Caroline again, and in that silence, I found something I hadn't felt in years: freedom. Painful, yes, but freedom nonetheless. If you've ever been betrayed or had to make the hardest choice of your life in silence, I want to hear your story. Share in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more real, raw stories like this.